It's not nature, but humanity that is the most ruthless force at sea. The tragic shipwrecks from Estonia to MV, Doña Paz from Titanic to Sewol, were not accidents. They were the results of greed, arrogance, and the collapse of ethics in moments that demanded clarity. They didn't die because of waves, but because of reckless decisions disguised as responsibility. And the most terrifying part, society has normalized failure. The ocean didn't swallow them. We did, through negligence, indifference, and the silent acceptance of shortcuts. Every death was preventable. Every body at the bottom is a consequence we chose. And the waves, they only carried the truth we refused to face. Let's revisit those final moments where human nature rises clearer than any storm. The scars begin with greed. Not all waves come from nature. Sometimes it's the human heart that becomes the tide sinking a ship. Like the MS Estonia disaster in 1994. 852 people died, not because of the storm, but because of a neglected bow door lock. When profit is chosen over technical inspection, disaster becomes only a matter of time. The sea didn't swallow them, negligence dragged them down. More chilling than ice is the cold irresponsibility of those in charge. Take Titanic, the symbol of blind pride. It only needed enough lifeboats, just a slower speed when ice warnings arrived. But in the name of fame and speed records, when 514 lives were gambled away, the ocean doesn't forgive recklessness. The wreck wasn't just steel, it was a timeless warning to all future generations. Each accident isn't just a tragedy, it's a verdict on complacency. From the Costa Concordia capsizing near shore due to a reckless salute to MV Doña Paz, where 4,000 people burned alive because no one taught fire safety. They didn't die by fate, they were betrayed by those meant to protect them. In maritime history, there are no random accidents, only chains of terrible decisions disguised with the paint of responsibility. Technology cannot save carelessness. No matter how advanced radar becomes, it can't replace a responsible eye. The MV Joola tragedy in Senegal, nearly 1,900 dead, wasn't caused by faulty tech, but by a ship overloaded threefold, sailing into a storm without warning. That's when we realize technology is just a tool. It can't force a captain to turn back. Humans remain the weakest link in the survival chain. A container ship can be longer than 3 football fields, but it means nothing if vigilance slips for 1 minute. MOL Comfort split in 2 mid-ocean, not due to collision, but from unchecked steel fatigue. Steel doesn't speak. Maintenance logs do. Who chose to ignore those fatigue signs? A modern vessel can't save a careless decision. No matter how advanced the engineering, indifference is fatal. Don't say I trust machines. That very belief sank El Faro in 2015. A Category 4 hurricane was forecasted. The captain still sailed into danger, trusting the ship's systems could handle it. But nature shows no mercy. El Faro and its 33 crew were swallowed. The real question is why trust ego over weather data arrogance. And arrogance is the quietest killer. When even captains lose their conscience, we often hear the captain is the last to leave the ship. But Costa Concordia reversed that definition. When it capsized in 2012, Captain Francesco Schettino was one of the first to swim ashore. He left behind 32 dead and hundreds in chaos. Where was professional honor? Where was duty? He said, I accidentally fell into the lifeboat. No, sir, you fell from self-respect and left voices crying in the darkness of the sea. Don't think only big ships cause big disasters. The Sewol ferry in South Korea, just a student-filled vessel, buried a generation due to cowardice. As students were trapped inside, the captain and crew changed into civilian clothes and fled. They left behind screams, farewell messages, and a nation's rage. Cowardice at the top killed trust in the system. An education collapsed not from mistakes, but betrayal. When trust dies at sea, no apology can revive it. Look at MV Bukoba in Tanzania. 1,000 dead because no one checked the boat before sailing. The captain was drunk. Licenses were fake. Passengers treated like cargo. Each layer of negligence stacked like bricks on a grave. And the question, how many more lives until a real inspection system is built? Must the sea be stained with more blood before someone wakes up? Estonia. A tragedy born from technicalness. Estonia didn't sink because of bad weather. It sank because a $3 million bowlock was overlooked. A tiny detail ignored through dozens of voyages turned the whole ship into a floating coffin. Blind faith in technology, no inspections, no proper maintenance. This was the real indictment. People died believing everything's fine. But the sea doesn't forgive complacency. And Estonia also revealed the failure of evacuation procedures. When water flooded the car deck, all exits were blocked. The crew's response: panic. No backup plan. No emergency drills. Hundreds were trapped in darkness and screams. In such chaos, high tech was useless. Radar GPS rescue boats, none could save lives when humans didn't act in time. The Estonia tragedy teaches this harsh truth. Safety doesn't come from equipment. It comes from people. No bowlock is stronger than a sense of duty. No procedure can replace vigilance. And if ship operators see passengers as cargo, not lives, disaster is only a matter of time. Estonia didn't sink due to the sea, it sank because a society normalized failure. This was not an accident. It was engineered fate. Joola, the most forgotten shipwreck in history. When Joola capsized off Senegal, 53 lives were lost, more than the Titanic. But who remembers no Hollywood film, no symphony in their honor? Because this was Africa, where disaster is forgotten as quickly as human lives. The ship was overloaded twofold: no inspections, no safety reports, no repairs. It set sail like a floating death bus, and the entire nation looked the other way. The most terrifying part of Joola wasn't the storm. It was systemic irresponsibility. They knew the ship was overloaded, knew it wasn't seaworthy, but they allowed it anyway because it always worked before. This is the rawest definition of indifference that kills. A poor nation, a corrupt system, and a government that didn't value its people. Survivors clung to floating corpses to stay alive. The system clung to denial. Joola wasn't just an accident. It was an indictment of an entire government. 63 people didn't die from nature, but from cowardice, lies, and apathy. No one was arrested. No one held accountable. That's why the world has forgotten. A society can easily erase thousands of deaths when power matters more than justice. And by the time we realize it, the sea has claimed the bodies and history has erased the names of MV Doña Paz. When greed ignites hell, MV Doña Paz was called the Titanic of Asia, but not for romance. It was a floating hell where over 4,000 died. A passenger ship crammed so full, no one knew the actual count. No passenger list, no weight control. And what happened? It collided with an oil tanker, exploded, turned into a sea of fire. A silent massacre fueled by greed and lawlessness. Worse, MV Doña Paz struck a ship carrying 8,000 barrels of gasoline with no proper maritime traffic oversight. In the dark sea night, two ships collided like blind men. The explosion turned the ocean into a fire pit. Survivors had two choices: burn or drown. Over 4,300 died, yet official records listed only 1,565. A sick joke of statistics where human lives were just numbers. MV Doña Paz proves this. The sea doesn't kill. We kill each other through negligence, greed, and indifference to danger. No one was prosecuted, no trials, no one paid. Thousands died, yet the system stayed untouched. Because when money can crush conscience, disaster is inevitable, and blood will continue to spread across the sea until someone finally stands up. Sewol. When the young are betrayed. Sewol was no mere accident. It was a moral wound on an entire nation's soul. Nearly 300 high school students died from one fatal command: your cabins. As the ship tilted those responsible, the captain, the crew fled first. They left children crying for help. A nation proud of discipline, technology, and progress, but powerless before the question: who protects my child when the ship sinks? The bitter truth. Sewol didn't sink due to waves, it sank from deceit. Illegal structural modifications overloading missing life vests. No evacuation drills. Authorities faked inspections, gave fake permits. The result: a ship like a concrete block, losing balance on a sharp turn. All the advanced systems became useless. Only young voices screamed, while the adults stayed silent. After Sewol, South Korea was shaken. But what changed? Were there real reforms or just political promises? Thousands of students still board decrepit ships daily. The guilty still walk free. Victims are honored in statues and books, but were never protected when it mattered. Sewol wasn't just an accident, it was betrayal. When adults fail to be adults, the next ship will sink. And next time it could be your child. Thresher. A tragedy sealed at the ocean's floor. The USS Thresher wasn't sunk by enemies, but by a design flaw during peacetime. A minor pipe crack at depth destroyed the entire system. 129 sailors perished. No survivors. The worst part: the flaw was known beforehand, but ignored. Thresher became living proof that silence isn't golden, it's a death sentence. After Thresher, the U.S. Navy created the SubSafe program, a rigorous inspection system. But how many lives did that lesson cost? Humans forget. And technology without ethical enforcement is always compromised by budgets. Thresher wasn't just a sunken sub, it was truth smothered by pride. When prestige matters more than facts, the ocean keeps its secrets forever. Some vessels never surface, but Thresher's lesson must rise from the depths. Safety can't be assumed. Every bolt pipe and system can kill if ignored. The more advanced the tech, the deadlier the failure. Behind every steel wall beats a human heart, one we can protect or abandon to pressure and darkness. The final moments, and what no one wants to admit. When the Sewol ferry capsized in South Korea, the world was shocked. But what angered the public wasn't just the disaster, it was the abandonment by those who should have saved lives. Officers and crew escaped first. Students were left behind with the order to stay put. Technology saves no one when professional ethics are hollow. This was negligence, not fate. On the Estonian ferry, passengers didn't die from ice or waves, but from a faulty door lock. A single mechanical decision cost over 800 lives. Who was responsible? No one. The sea doesn't assign blame, society forgets. This reminds us that a loose screw, a neglected flaw, can become a national tragedy. Survival sometimes depends on the smallest things. In the final seconds of any shipwreck, two things emerge: despair and hope. A father clutches his child. Strangers reach for each other. Final acts of kindness reveal true humanity. That's something machines can't replace. Survival isn't about technology, it's about human hearts. When the water rises, ranks don't matter. Only one question remains: who do you save, and how did you live? Wake up or keep sinking. Maritime tragedies never repeat identically, but always echo the same cause: complacency. Humans believe they control nature, but the ocean doesn't accept tolerable error. If we keep trading lives for cost savings, ignoring warnings, then we don't need disasters. Just a single drop of water is enough. The sea doesn't drown people, greed drags them under. The solution isn't new technology, it's old humans changing. We need captains who accept responsibility, engineers who don't blindly sign off, ship owners who don't slash safety for profit, passengers who ask questions and don't fall for shiny facades. When ethics take the helm again, disaster will halt. Ships don't sink from flaws. They sink because we abandoned vigilance. Every shipwreck, Titanic, Doña Paz, Estonia, MV Sewol, wasn't a random death. They died because society accepted negligence as normal. Today, you read these stories not to mourn, but to look ahead. If we don't want another disaster, every small decision from an engineer, a captain, a passenger, must be weighed on the scale of conscience. The sea has never been a killer. Disasters don't begin with waves, but with compromise. Every sunken ship is a verdict not just on its crew, but on the system that allowed negligence to thrive. When permits are sold, when inspections are fake, when lives become statistics, death is no longer a shock. It is a pattern, precise, cold, merciless. We don't need another sinking to wake up. We need to revisit every bolt, every signature, every minute of willful ignorance before the sea screams again. Because next time, it won't be a headline. It might be us.